Добрий день, я вітаю всіх, хто приєднався.
Good afternoon. Greetings to all of those who joined us. Actually, we have the war. It's the third year of the large-scale invasion of the Russian enemy in Ukraine. And actually, for us, it's important to focus on a very important topic today. We will be talking over kobzarstvo in Ukraine. Actually, it is in one step to the UNESCO recognition. On the 15th of October, we celebrate the International Day of the Intangible Cultural Heritage. And for us, it's important to talk over the topic of the intangible cultural heritage presented by kobzarstvo. Back to 2023, by the initiation of the Kobzar shops in Kyiv, Kharkiv and Lviv, they actually submitted the request to recognize kobzarstvo in Ukraine as a piece of intangible cultural heritage. And actually, we are at the verge of the international recognition of kobzarstvo as the intangible cultural specimen. Actually, Oles Taras Kompanichenko, Kobzar bandura player, military as the junior sergeant of the 21st Brigade of the Territorial Defence Unit, Andrei Rizol, is the head of the association Watch Ukrainian, and as well Pavlo Moroz, he is the head of the department of the HMP Corporation Foundation, and also Mykola Tovkaylo Kobzar. He represents the Kyiv Kobzar shop. Oles, the floor is yours. Let's talk over such an important event. We will be talking over what actually pushed you to put the proposal to UNESCO on this important issue. Glory to Ukraine. Glory to the heroes. And I propose to have a minute of silence in order to pay the tribute who perished and died. Amongst those are also brothers of our brotherhood of Kobzars. Thank you very much. Eternal glory for the heroes. We are here. We'll be talking over this topic as well. Unfortunately, we are supposed to talk over the role of kobzarstvo in the wartime. Unfortunately, it is to be mentioned that there were lots of debates for a long time whether it is worth to submit such a request, and this has been debated among the brothers representing the three Kobzar shops. But we realized that the knowledge and mastership that has been retained and preserved for a long time. Actually, the experts, UNESCO experts, also agreed on that it is time to submit such a proposal in order to recognize kobzarstvo in Ukraine as an intangible cultural heritage. It happened back to 2022, and actually, no doubt, it was a push, and after that, NGOs, the expert community, and in Ukraine and globally, they actually started talking over what will be the tradition of safeguarding kobzarstvo in the Kobzar shops, and today in the Kobzar Guilds. And we will be talking over this issue today. We have invited very many people, and they are ready to present the information because actually they contribute a lot to the starting up of the portal, Duma portal. It is a sort of a site for us through which we could actually deliver the information to the global community, what is actually ongoing in Ukraine after the large-scale invasion of Russia in Ukraine back to February 22, and what is the situation in the occupied territories with the cultural heritage, libraries, museums, etc. Actually, for us, it's important also. I offer you as a small reel, this small video. Actually, maybe when watching this video, very many issues will be given the answer. Please start the video. Epic and tradition of kobzarstvo has followed Ukrainians for a long time in their fight for freedom. In moments of joy and sadness, transmitting from generation to generation, from master to apprentice, as an important component. It includes not only the knowledge of history, oral, epic heritage, performing arts, mode of life, as well as musical instruments making, Kobza, Lyre, and bandura. The Ukrainian technology of producing bandura, Lyre, and Kobza, actually it is made of from a solid piece of wood. Actually, you can put here the circle, and then actually the wood is treated from outside. Actually, they make the cavity, and then they put this wooden piece aside in order it will dry. When they transmitted these skills from grandfathers to the grandsons, actually they have retained all the skills because bandura making, it's a tradition in Ukraine. Ukrainians up to 1783 had their Ukrainian state. In this or that form, it was a republican state, and the Cossacks were the part of the state. Why Kobzars think about this? Because it is the memory, and everyone should remember about the glory of their grandfathers and Ukrainian heroes. So we must remember how bread and salt will kill. Those who would like to be the Kobzar must first know what is a fairy tale. And then actually they could in the hard time, could transfer this orally. Sometimes it happens people are standing aside and listening. I'm blind, but I don't see the people. So people inform me, people are standing, they are listening to you. It's necessary to accustom this, but that we are bearers of culture. Thank you. And the repertoire of bandura plays is half, or maybe even more, composed of cantos and psalms. The next stage in the formation of the bottom deck, we should meet the parameters needed, and this is the thickness of the bottom deck. What type of bandura you would like to have, whether round or Tkachenko type or Nedbailo type bandura. At that time, I did not understand what he was talking over. Bandura is bandura. I understand you. You are looking for a form. In the left hand, I have bandura. In the right hand, I have kobza. The instrument on my left-hand side is a harp-like instrument. They have open string sounds on it, like a harp. And the pitch of the sound on the neck is not changed. Actually, it's rudimentary neck. Lutnia, here actually we press the strings on the neck, and with this we could change the pitch. Bandura. Now we will show you how we make the top deck. This is Karpatska spruce tree. And actually, we make the size fitting to the bandura size, and then we put the pegs and put the. I have actually primed it, covered it with a primer, but did not polish and lacquer it. The revival of Ukrainian kobzarstvo precisely at the end of the 19th century. Actual interest in Ukrainian bandura was generally connected with the so-called Ukrainios regimentos, Ukrainian Renaissance. One should head to kobzarstvo, be engaged in fulfilling the function of the safeguarder of the values of our people, the custodian of our treasures. Looks a bit like a human body in shape, isn't it? When you push the key, then actually it becomes shorter. The lyre came to Europe back to the 9th century. Through the Macedonia to Europe, it was very popular in Europe. It spread to Western Europe, Ukraine, Poland, and even Hungary. The wheel lyre must be the way it had always sounded by ancestors. And those who have already reached the point of intelligence, they start playing the lyre. Wheel lyre, hurdy-gurdy. Our guild actually is our brotherhood actually unites Kyiv and Kharkiv and Lviv guilds. And actually, we are attempting to continue traditions of performing the authentic repertoire, which was not replaced. The Kobzar Tsech is an association of endless memories of it. They want to safeguard Ukrainian epic tradition, not only as a memory and recollection, but to safeguard in life its freedom, love, sacrifice, truth, and brotherhood. And here, actually, finally, we have this bandura. Then, actually, what we do it, normally we make it in order to play bandura. And we are very happy and wish you be healthy and happy through your life. Safeguarding practice of Kobza and Lyre traditions. Thank you very much for the wonderful video. And it's so touching. And actually, we got more information on the topic to be discussed today. Oles, the floor is yours. Please continue. Currently, also what I can add to this story, today we are actually very insecure because here we have the enemy who does not want to recognize our territory. They would like to destroy the national identity in this country. We understand normally we have wars for the national identity globally. And on the time of the globalization, we understand it's a very big challenge for us, whether we will retain our language, our culture, or whether actually all this makes us Ukrainians. For us, it's also important to understand what can be transferred to our children and what will be retained and safeguarded in 200, 300 years in future. We understand there is no one answer to all these challenges. We understand with war, actually, we realized how sharp these topics are today. But for us, it's important. We could not take the passive position. We should actually be engaged. We should go together and actually we do. Some people say we have the Kobza front or cultural front. We understand what all this means. And actually, we should also provide for those who are the front line. Actually, we should encourage them. And we should actually, because for people who are at the front line, they should understand what they are striving and fighting for. Getting back to the challenges, now we took a more active position. We work with a lot UNESCO programs. It appeared UNESCO keeps the focus on such like programs for many years. Earlier, Ukraine has not been engaged in any project of this kind. And for us, it's important actually under the support of the Ukrainian Cultural Foundation, we also are setting the portal. And it's a first step towards a large portal. And actually, we would like to have it set according to the global principles, because we had lots of discussions in order to understand how we could organize such a portal in the digitalized world. For us, it's important actually through this portal to engage all the interested people, all the stakeholders in order to tell the story of Ukraine globally to those who are interested in Ukrainian culture and history. Also, we have invited the experts and specialists from Portugal and Finland. Actually, practically have no idea. They lost lots of musical and epic heritage because they lost it. They got to us. They actually learn how to play musical instruments and how to play those. Mykola Tovkaylo actually and Taras also could deliver information on his experience. And me being the vice president of the Ukrainian National Academy of Arts, actually, no doubt, we have opened lots of topics that are discussed. Tomorrow we will have a large-scale conference, and we are engaging lots of organizations and stakeholders who are working on the cultural, historical heritage of Ukraine. We understand we have passed a very short way, very short pathway, but for us it's so critical because it is the side through which we could talk over these topics to the global communities. Taras, the floor is yours. Maybe you will comment on the following. What was the impact of the large-scale invasion on the kobzarstvo in Ukraine? Kobzarstvo is a close brotherhood. Actually, how you took a decision, made a decision to submit the request to UNESCO to recognize kobzarstvo as the intangible cultural heritage. You see, it was not a very easy decision. This idea was debated long ago. It was decided that it is necessary to promote this idea. For us, it's important to have kobzarstvo be recognized as a piece of intangible cultural heritage. At that time, there was no leader, but thanks to Oles, actually he initiated this process at a different level. It's one side of the story. The other side of the story, because we understand at that time we envisaged certain threats, we asked ourselves whether it's worth to do this. We know from the history who are the bandura players, who were kobzars. Actually, this topic was it was half-opened brotherhoods, which organized on the principles of the old days brotherhoods. Out of those, the Ukrainian brotherhood was the Lviv Stavropegysk brotherhood, and then we had religious brotherhood, and but they supported the development of culture and school as well, and based on this governance principles, because all they were guided by the democratic principles, their commitment to this issue. Actually, at that time, they founded Kobzar Cechs or Kobzar Guilds. But this history also led them to the situation when kobzarstvo actually in the 20s and 30s of the 20th century, it was almost completely destroyed because barriers of the tradition actually were destroyed by different methods, either by setting them in prisons or by other methods. But at that time, we understand it was difficult to survive to all the human beings, but many of the Kobzars were blind people. They had no chance to survive. Yegor Movchan, a well-known bandura player, actually, he back to 1933, in order to survive in the time of famine, actually, he left Ukraine to Azerbaijan, and in Azerbaijan, actually, they lived for a while and then returned. But very many bandura players, Kobzars, they died because of the hardships of the famine period in Ukraine, of Holodomor. And actually, Georgy Kirillovich Tkachenko is a personality who, after the Second World War, lived in Kyiv, and we pay a tribute to him. He was born in the Glushkovo. It is highly attacked today, and he was the only person who had retained Ukrainian national instrument bandura. And actually also he has safeguarded and retained the traditional Ukrainian repertoire. Actually, for us it's difficult to say what was the repertoire back to 17th and 18th century. But back to the 19th century, we are in a full know on the repertoire. And this is our epic traditions, ballads, and a religious repertoire, because and the topics of Christianity were covered, because lyrics actually covered very many well-known religious topics. They also covered the topics of ethics. These are actually two main wings of the repertoire of the bandura plays of the old days. Also, they were singing. Also, some joy songs, and also some of their the musics and played, and lirnyks also were invited to the wedding ceremonies. It's true. And the situation is as I described. And Tkachenko, actually, he started actually back to the 1917 and 18. He took lessons of in Kharkiv bandura players, but then he moved to Kyiv, and actually, at that time, the Kyiv Kobzar Guild was started. He was invited to different communities. He was invited to the universities and academies. And through these efforts, actually, the idea of retaining and safeguarding the epic traditions is being kept till today. Thank you very much for these historical details. And we do understand that Ukrainian kobzarstvo was at the verge of death. Of what is the situation today? Who could comment on this? You know, actually, we could say that it's a tradition in Ukraine. It's normally in such like events and situations, normally people say before everything was very bad in the Russian time, now everything goes much better. But the situation as it is back to the 90s of the past century, we had the Jubilee event, Kobzar Ostap Versailles Jubilee date was celebrated, and in the media it was said that very many people paid the tribute to Ostap Versailles, as hundreds of Kobzars actually went to his monument to pay him the tribute. So in case we have 1,000 Kobzar singers and players, in this case probably we don't need to have the Kobzar movement, because we understand that Kobzar plays and Kobzars play a very important role. The current situation with kobzarstvo, it is much better, and we could, because we live in the free country, and actually war made sharp and acute very many issues, because for us it's important to think over how we could retain and safeguard national culture and national identity. We understand our space. Now we see many people are singing traditional Ukrainian national songs. But actually, I went to Google in order to see what is Duma, because, you know, it's very difficult sometimes to find a good is understanding of this or that word sometimes. What we would like to retain. We would like to retain the sources and traditions. Earlier, I was invited to different bandura players contests. Actually, yesterday I was interviewed. And on the background, they show not what we are talking over. On the background, they show what actually is not specific for the topic we do discuss. And we will not be destroying capellas or ensembles, but what we would like we would like to have the girls who actually perfectly plays today's quasi instruments. We would like bring to them the knowledge actually how all these instruments were started, because for us it's important to retain and preserve the roots of all these instruments. Because very many people think that without any regard to the bandura tribe, which is played, they normally link it to kobzarstvo. Many people are talking over the topic of kobzarstvo, but what we are talking over, we are talking over on the sources. We also we understand we would like to have the live museum and to have the live tradition, the living tradition. Without this, nobody will be tempted in some other talks, because very many people say that when people ask bandura players, could you play metallic muse, Led Zeppelin repertoire, etc. I could do this, but why I should play this? Why I should play Led Zeppelin's repertoire and these instruments? Why not to listen to the eternal memory pieces that actually were so touching, because they were inspiring them. They were inspiring their fight for freedom, their dignity. And we understand, we don't refuse from creating the modern pieces of but for us, it's important also to use all our historical heritage pieces. We must to safeguard and retain the sources. And in these sources, because this is exactly the kobzarstvo sources, it's the utmost value, but for us it's important to deliver this information for everyone. many dozens years ago, because for one of the students, the rector of the Kyiv Conservatoire, said, play like Ostap Verisai. But for us, it's important to, if you take, for example, Murashka, who is a professor of the pictorial arts, because he was a student of Rapin, he could say, for example, at that time he could have say, learn how to paint, because otherwise you will be like Maria Primachenko. But for us, Katerina Belakur, Maria Primachenko, this is our national value, because actually they use minimalistic means, but it's sufficient minimalism in order to be heard, in order to be visualized, in order to awake in Ukrainians dignity, the feeling of national integrity, and the wish to fight for the freedom and to fight for the national state. In order, how many Kobzars today do create? It's difficult to say how many of those are engaged in the creative activity. Those Alexander Trius, actually here, as the old ancient player, Pan Червачок, Хутір Лавірковий, it's Stalalivsky district, Kharkiv, Ostremsky. He is a bearer of the tradition from Tkachenko and Parfimenko, and he is a creator. Sometimes he doesn't declare this, but we sing his songs. Eduard Drach, actually, he's in the front line. He returned, and actually, he was wounded, and he returned. And his songs today are popular as the new epics, and we have the new epics, epic pieces, and at the same time, he also sings Ostap Verisai repertoire. Yaroslav Krysko, Taras Dorotskyi, they are from Lviv region. Taras Dorotskyi is with us. Also Shmolar from Chervonograd. And Andrei Silatsky, also he's from Lviv. We have people representing Odessa region, Kharkiv region, presented by Gubsky. Actually, in Dnipro, in Sieczyslaw, we call Dnipro region with this word. In Sieczyslaw, in Dnipro region, they have Gabuda. In Poltava, Nazar Bazhinsky. So actually, in Peryaslav, Mykola Tikhonovich, actually we have no doubt certain areas where we actually give the birth. Actually, Yurko Kaczerzyński workshop is working, but for us, Trios actually created a song on a large-scale invasion. Actually, there is a response from everyone, but it's in tradition. It's done in tradition. it's not a show with the fog on the background. It's a living tradition. Andriu, we do understand that the processes that has been launched to the UNESCO date of International Intangible Cultural Heritage. Let's understand what are our future plans. Thank you very much. It's a very decisive phase. Let's get back to 2022. At that time, actually, the idea of submission of the request to UNESCO on recognition of kobzarstvo as a piece of Ukrainian intangible heritage, no doubt we did lots of work. We had done lots of work before we did submitted this request to UNESCO. There is a list of documents to be drafted. It's a so complex process, and we have passed this route within 2-3 months. We were strongly engaged in this process, but the answer was wait in general line, wait for the next 5-7 years. But actually, we really got to them many more times. We voiced that it's so important topic of kobzarstvo recognition as a piece of intangible cultural heritage. We at the time wanted to be heard. We realized that it is important to retain kobzarstvo for Ukrainians and for the international community as well. And we have recorded more than pieces. In the very beginning of this year, Pavlo Gaidai has supported this idea. He represents the cultural institution between the ears. And also, we have submitted some proposals on the grant-supported programs. And actually, you may get to the site. There is a link available, and you may see some videos and some information on this. As to the future plans, right to the end of the year, maybe more words to be said by Oles. But as for me, it is a sort of a very good example of cooperation of Kyiv, Kharkiv, and Lviv Kobzar Guilds and Mizhvuha, cultural institutions, other stakeholders, also no doubt Watch Ukrainian association support was really very strong. So thanks to this cooperative effort, we have the status as we could talk over today. It's a very responsible, I feel very responsible and committed. For many years, you do support this movement. Actually, could you comment on how it is important for your company to give support for this initiative? Thank you very much for the proposed topic. For us, the company MHP, and it's extremely important and critical to have Ukrainian victorious in this war. In the very beginning of this war, back to 2014, we provide support and assistance to our fighters and military. We also give support to the veterans and their families. But along with these efforts, we did realize that the cementing factor for all these as to the safeguarding of the Ukrainian integrity is the return to the traditions which actually are the signs of Ukrainians as of the nations that cannot be put on the knees, and And back to May 2022, we also started our rebirth of the project with the Watch Ukrainian Association. We engaged also lots of IDPs families. We engaged also families whose brothers, husbands, and parents are in the front line. Actually, we continue this effort today, but also, actually, we had a request from the military, and could I talk over that we have engaged the military squads and units, military hospitals. Also, we work closely with Mykola Tovkaylo. Actually, we actually decided to give the rebirth to different efforts. We have recovered the entry to the portal of the Ukrainian Museum of Ukrainian Household and Cultural Traditions. Actually, we gave the restoration for some of the pieces that are retained in this museum. Also, we did supported also the heritage of Vasil Stugin heritage, Vasily Simonenko in heritage, Taras Grigorovich Shevchenko's in heritage, and also Shadrach. Shadrach, actually, we understand Shadrach written by Leontovich was prior to the Jingle Bells. For us, it's important to get back to these pieces in order to retain and safeguard Ukrainian identity, and with this to give the support to all the people, because today we are fighting for the survival of Ukraine. And we understand that Ukraine had a very difficult path through the hardships. And Mykola also mentioned, because they had doubts at the time, they were thinking over whether to put a submission on the recognition of kobzarstvo as a cultural heritage of Ukraine. There were lots of thoughts prior to this act, but at that time was the history. For us, it's very important to have in place the comprehensive project. And actually, through the implementation of such a project, to get the relevant outcome and result. So we believe that without such projects as the kobzarstvo, retaining of Ukrainian integrity, we could not have the victory in this country, because all this is about our values, our culture, and our history. MHP company will deliver more support. Now I would like to ask all the participants, maybe you have reflections or comments, if any. Oh, you have the question. Good afternoon. Igor Edition Ritzi. I'd like to ask your opinion on the following. In your opinion, what other objects of intangible heritage are also worth to be included as the intangible heritage safeguarded by UNESCO? For us, it's important to understand in practical terms what will be the benefits out of this. Actually, tomorrow at the National Academy of Fine Arts, we will have the exhibition that on the phenomenon and events that actually have recognized as intangible heritage, Petrikevsky pictorial arts and paintings. And then in the current year, also I have good hopes that together we have a joint request of Ukraine and Estonia. It's a very specific story. This UNESCO should recognize. It means that in case this request is met, then actually it will allow to have the access on this topic to all the to this topic. For us, actually, it seems to me that as to the Pisanka's history, in every area you have their traditions. But 20 years ago, believe me, nobody had no idea what is a Pisanka arts. And actually, at that time, we realized that this heritage is at the verge of dying. And actually, through the educational programs, we promote this topic. It is not a painted egg, as it is. It is a cosmogonic Ukrainian world. It is a tradition. And normally, when we do present these pieces, because normally moms tell the stories to the daughters, actually how the universe was created, actually, all these pieces could bring a piece of history. And no doubt for us also to understand that last year, Mr. Mykola also, we visited one of the Scandinavian countries, and also actually at this exhibition we brought some instruments, and now we invited people who are engaged in reconstruction of their traditions. But for us it's important to how because very many people, for example, don't know the history, how they made, for example, gusla instrument, why it should be made of the oak tree. For us, it's important to get and put together all these details. And thanks to the efforts taken, today, actually, we could show actually how the music sounded and was accompanied by this or that oral line, and why it was so important at that time and today. One more issue to be covered, and for me personally, I played several cants, and actually I also provided sound for some dumas. But today with the war, Taras, actually, every other day he performs these pieces. And why the psalms on the perished Cossack are so critical. For us, it's important, actually, for us, the content of these psalms is very actual, because Taras is invited for the funerals ceremonies almost every day. Those who lost their close relatives, it's not enough to have the priest or capellan visiting this ceremony, because for them it's very difficult to remove tension from their souls. And very often in the Asian days also Kobza players and Lyre players were invited to different ceremonies, including wedding ceremonies and funeral ceremonies. And we understand that today the traditions that we had retained earlier, it's our everyday activity, because military sometimes invite us to visit this or that unit or squad in order to inspire the soldiers. And we do this because among the brotherhood members, we have also those who lost the extremities. And one of the best masters of instrument making lost his extremity. And I understand, no doubt, today he could transfer his knowledge to the apprentice. And also, we could explain also different nuances to the school children. And the tradition, how to live in the environment. For us, it's important to give more details on the nature. What is a tree? Because when we take a piece of wood, it is a piece of a tree. For us, we don't have the lessons of Ukrainian identity. But at every lesson, no doubt, we could include this is that small piece on the national identity in this country. And as Taras said, for us, it's important that everyday effort could touch every sphere of our life, because we understand how it is critical. What I am doing in the film production, I normally use the knowledge, and no doubt we invite lots of scientific people, but no doubt but how we make money to make this reel or this clip. Normally we play in the street collecting money and then put these collections for the new production. And it's so critical today because we know because we sing the songs about the miracle that safeguarded the soldier. It is so important today to sing these songs when we sing about the heroes. Today, this is the situation, but we should survive through this time of hardships. But we are living in the time of heroes. We are living in this heroic time when the Kobzar Brotherhood task was always to sing in order to transfer the message to the listeners. Would you like to add? The question was that we are very emotional people. Excuse us. We start with one topic, then switch to another topic. It's me. I'm talking over this because normally I started talking over one topic, and then actually another wave covered me and I switched to another topic. But anyhow, we should be very sober. We should actually recover from the nighttime and talk over the utmost critical issues. What kobzarstvo could actually contribute when, for example, kobzarstvo is recognized as a piece of intangible cultural heritage. No doubt it will allow the international community get more information on Ukraine, because earlier, actually, all the sites where all these topics were discussed actually were very closed, and sometimes the information delivered was very biased. Kobzarstvo, it is about identity, about the true face. UNESCO actually actually put certain requirements to the states. It means when they recognize this or that piece as an intangible cultural heritage, it means that this piece should be promoted in the country. And actually, they do monitor these processes through international institutions, because this phenomenon should not be lost. It should not disappear. It means that the state put a focus on this and include budgeting on this or that programs and interventions aimed at support of it should be also social programs and projects. It means with the UNESCO recognition of kobzarstvo as a piece of intangible heritage, it will be the push for the state to put more focus on it. And we are thinking that that everybody knows everything about this or that topic. I actually, thanks to Watch Ukrainian Association, I was on a visit in the UK. In UK, actually, I actually collected for some money for the electronic jamming systems, and actually we have collected enough resources to buy one piece of this highly engineering systems. And I did collections for my brigade number 241. Sometimes we think that we are in a full know about everything. There is a huge interest to Ukraine. In UK, people don't know Ukraine. There are small communities. We have Ukrainian diaspora, but it is very closed. We have Julian from Australia with us, and he could also confirm this. It's Rosabet's very close communities sometimes get out and try to get to the communities. And there are very many pieces. But, for example, our brotherhood member Ivan Kvitaste or Victor Mishalo sometimes did such coming outs. But many people who live in UK, they don't understand the context of this or that phenomenon and actually what Ukrainians could propose. That's why the Ukrainian epic tradition, as we try to show it, it is the key to many, many peoples. First of all, finally, actually, a European epic tradition, they published such a book, but no coverage on Ukrainian epic traditions. Actually, this book was added in Poland. We are so proud about our traditions, about dumas that have been retained for the centuries, and we have this tradition living. But actually in this book they speak about the song about Relenda, and they speak about Pomorsky songs from Walfa, Beowulf, and Cid, etc. And sometimes they mention this song, Brunilval battle, but no dumas are mentioned in this book. For example, when you get to the Slovak Cantorum, it's the Academy of the Ancient Music. I was invited for lecturing for the people who are engaged in epic tradition studies in Europe. And why they do invite me? What for it is needed for these communities that actually reconstruct on lutnia, other Renaissance instruments? What for they should get the information how the epic tradition was performed in Ukraine. So for us it's important because Ukrainian folklore bearers are very important because actually they could give the idea how they could reconstruct the songs and singing of their grandmas and grandmas thanks to the efforts of the renowned Ukrainian folklore bearers. And through the studies and demonstrations how the epic pieces are performed in Ukraine, we could actually understand how Beowulf was performed. Blim papa papa, not known. But it was reconstructed in this manner. You may go to YouTube and watch it. Just I try to show how it was reconstructed. But we have retained and preserved, we have safeguarded in our sources. We have retained the melodies because the Filareta Kalesa actually recorded this. Kharkiv Borodai did it. And these records are available. You may listen to them. In Poland, there was the seminar of the Eastern European countries, and Lithuanians were shocked, Italians were shocked, because they said it is the voice from the other world. And in addition to this, we not only translate this voice, it is actual today, because this world is so actual for the more knowledge on the Ukrainian identity in order to show to the international community who are Ukrainians and what heritage they have. And also, it is important that it is necessary to give understanding how in the past time it existed, what function was with singing at that time and today. And in Basel, a person asked, they asked me how the different epics could be performed. And they asked me, they asked for my advice. You should be the knight, you should be committed, and then no doubt you will perform these epics as well. And then we will be in 10 minutes, after the small 10 minutes break, we will be opening the second session. It's a more creative part. And then you will hear and see more information. I advise you to stay with us. Thank you very much. Thank you for the panelists, for the engagements. Thank you for all the participants. We would like to thank our military who allowed us to get together here. Glory to Ukraine.
трансляція в світ.
As we are a very democratic society in the full understanding of this concept, but we have the films, portraits, we have some stories, and if you are more interested, actually, we could deliver you the films on our Brotherhood members. And there is nothing best than to listen live music. That's why the floor is opened to Taras Dorotskyi. Actually, he's the Brotherhood member of the Lviv Kobzar Guild. Tomorrow, also, we decided to include in the tomorrow's event. We plan also on the 17th of October. Actually, it is an international date of the UNESCO's recognition of intangible cultural heritage. We will have the concert to commemorate our Brotherhood members who died and perished in the battlefields. And this will be a very good chance to network. And now, Taras Dorotskyi, the stage is yours. 400 years ago, we got the victory against the invasion in 1621. And actually, Petro Kylishevich and Sagadachny led the Cossacks to the victory. And at that time, they composed the lyrics. And actually, also they put these lyrics on the music by two lirnyks in some areas. And it is as actually a sort of peace that united Ukraine, glory. Have a joy, Mary. Have a joy, Maria, the heavens goddess. Be joyful. You gave the birth to your son. And you brought up him. And you transferred the best knowledge to him. And have a joy. Because there were lots of fears. But we are blessed by the heavens. But the land gives us firmness. Many people were tearing. And All this music touched her a lot, and music brought her back to the sun, to the thoughts about sun. It was in the area, a small populated area, Krolvetske. Save your children. They will stand for you. Hallelujah. Honor to the Lord. Maria, don't forget us. Mary, don't forget us. I will worship for all of you. I will pray for all of you. We will not forget you. Wherever you are in the world, we will not forget your blessing, Mary. Forever. Our music, actually we have lots of experience playing in the street. Donations are invited as we play in the street. Actually, the kobzarstvo, Kobzar Brotherhood, was also invited to the guild because they were engaged in many battles across the Black Sea shore. And at that time, actually, the nation was Latinized, and also at that time, also there were lots of promises that were promised for the Cossacks. But then the next song was created, and actually it will be inspiring all other generations, 20th century generation, 21st generation. And actually it was generated as that patience is over under suppression. It is before the national liberation movement, when the national state was started back to the Zaporizhia waters. The river banks are so wide. The Cossacks are in a low mood. Hey guys, don't be in low moods. Get on the horses. And we will go to the area, and we will go and see red Kitaikas. The red Kitaikas. It was very red. What is our Kobzar glory should not be faded. It should be always bright as the red Kitaika. It's our Kobzar glory. It should not fade out. It should not be lost. In the meadows, we have Chervona Kalina. It's drooping. And why our glorious Ukrainian is so sad. And with this red kalina, we will put it straight, and our glorious Ukraine will be in joy. Will make Ukraine joyful. God will bless us. And now I offer you to watch the video 7 minutes about our lirnyks, and then we will have more sessions where our guests will be playing instruments. Thank you. Then Taras Kompanichenko after the film. You will be invited to the podium. Kobzarstvo, epic tradition. My name is Andrei Lyashuk. I am from Rivne, and I study lirnyk traditions and perform traditional repertoire of Volyn lirnyks. I was interested in this instrument because long ago, at the time of the large Volyn, there was a very powerful lirnyk tradition, and I actually try to continue this tradition. I was born in the Kovel town. It's 15 years ago. I was interested in this phenomenon. I heard that Kovel at that time, from the northern part of Volhynia region, it was the lirnyk center near the church or at the marketplaces. They could make some earnings because there were people who were ready to listen and to pay. And that tradition was kept through the 80s of the last century. I was very much interested in this instrument. I was born in this area because this tradition was kept for a long time there. It's a lirnyk piece that is Godmother Pachaevskaya cant. It was sung by Volyn lirnyks. They were traveling to Pachina, Lavra. There were people there who were listening to this cant. At the time of the dawn, they saw the Turkish troops like a black cloud. Back to 2010, I saw this instrument for the first time, and I was interested in the history of this instrument. I also listened to the records of the last Volyn lirnyk, Vlasyuk. But at that time, I was not much motivated to start playing this instrument. I played many other instruments. I played Police folklore. I played other instruments as well. But for me, it was something I did not realize at the time whether I could follow this tradition and start playing this instrument. We should stand and fight for the monasteries. Back to 1020, I was very much inspired to start playing this instrument and sing these songs. Actually, I got deeply in studies of this instrument, trying to understand. In Lutsk, there is the master Victor Ishuk. I asked him whether I could ask him to make to order this instrument. And then on the Nativity Day, actually, he was ready to pass over for me the first lyre. It was made of a plywood. I actually tuned it very easily and started playing this plywood-made lyre. I always say that my first teacher was the internet, where you can download lots of songs, and then you can only just to imitate playing this and singing. Then having a deeper knowledge with lirnyk who were experienced. My teachers were Kompanichenko, Taras, Yarema. These personalities were those I actually adopted from them certain elements of playing and singing. back to 2013, actually at that time I attributed myself to lirnyks, but then I found myself actually, it is the film about lirnyks who got together in a very old castles. It was not a castle, it was a ruin, but they were blind. They did not see it, but they got together in the castle, at the castle ruins. Actually, in the Rivne region, they had 2 days when they shooted this film. It was in the Tarakani fort, and we actually invited people who actually got this or that association with lyre making or lyre playing. It was a very good chance for networking with the kobzars and to take in hands the instruments. In addition to shooting, also we had a master class of lirnyks skills, on lirnyk skills. Where we are heading, Kudin it's translated from the Kobzar language as good afternoon. Early Sunday morning, sun is rising behind the clouds. It is rising over the woods and over the Dorotskyi camping site. This instrument, after the instrument I described, and I started my in-depth studies, and I wanted to have the instrument that it is more up to traditions. And then I got the information that in the Museum of the Movies, there is a lyra of the last lirnyk Vlasyuk. They allowed me to take this piece, to take photos. I actually took the oversized dimensions, made some sketches, and the same master from Lutsk made me my Lyre, the same dimensions of Vlasyuk's Lyre. And behind the small river was flowing. It's not only music for me, it's philosophy. It's a perception of the world. You do understand a much deeper issues when you sing psalms. When you are singing psalms, it's maybe like very strong impact on you, could be compared with praying. I know that sometimes people go pass by the church, but they could stop and listen to the lirnyk. And I do understand that through this traditions, through dumas, lirnyks and psalms, I actually invite more people for understanding of these pieces. So actually on the site you may find all the information on different people. No doubt also we will load here all the interviews. And now Mr. Tovkaylo. Once again, tomorrow I would like to announce that tomorrow at the Academy of Fine Arts we will have the conference on the intangible heritage. We will present collections of different ancient instruments. Also, we will have also different pictorial arts pieces, pisankas, etc. And tomorrow also at 4 p.m. also we will have a special minute to pay the tribute for the perished Brotherhood members. I would like to perform the Duma. Or about Fedor Bezrydny. It's a very old piece, very old piece. It looks like it was created when we had the firing arms back to the 16th century. You may actually count how many centuries have passed. Actually, over the meadows, over the Dnipro. It's a big meadow. It was flooded when they were constructing the water-made, the artificial water reservoir in Kakhovka. And we understand that when we had Kakhovka destroyed, we understand all the nature will be recovered around. So all this piece is dating back to the 16th century. I would like to brief you on the Duma. Actually, we did not know, for example, what Dumas were performed back to the 17th and 18th century, but no doubt we understand that probably this Duma was performed, and it's nice that they actually were transferred from generation to generation from that time to our days. And all this took several hundreds of years. If we get back to the 19th century, in the early 19th century, actually, we have also some written documents on these Dumas, written pieces. There was a bandura player, Andrei Shuter, from Chernigov region, from Sosnitsky district, and he was singing 12 Dumas. Some of these Dumas actually have been retained through our days, but some of them were forgotten. There was a layer of Dumas about Khmelnytsky, about the attacks on the Jews. And actually, Andrei Shut performed 6 Dumas, but his student, he died back to 1955. He performed out of the 6 Dumas on Khmelnytsky. He only performed 2 Dumas, and in the end of the 19th century, actually, his student performed only 1 out of 2. So we see that many Dumas looks like were lost. No Dumas about Khmelnytsky I was talking over earlier about Tkachenko, and thanks to his contribution, we have a good chance to perform these old pieces. The outcome in the battlefield. Many people lost. So we have seen many courses trying to recognize them. Fedor Bezrodny is tearing. I'm ready to present you two horses, white and black. Inspiring people to get on the back on the horse. He is in the full ammunition, is trying to get on the back of the horse. And Fedor Bezrodny is watching this and still is tearing. Thanks to the Lord. I know that he will be fighting for me, for my soul. Get on the horse and go across the meadow to the Slavutich Dnieper River. Yes, Yarema is actually on the back of the horse, goes across the meadow, and is greeting the Cossacks. And then the Ottomans. And the Ottoman actually all sees this and talks to him to him differently. Why you're here? Maybe earlier you killed your landlord. When he talks to Ottoman, words are mixed with tears. Father Ottoman, I joined Cossacks and saw very many of them in the battlefield died. And Ataman selects the best warriors out of 700 Kodaks. The ceremony, funeral ceremony, is described in this song. In the meadows the Cossack died, but the glory will be eternal, will not die. And let the God will bless the Ukrainian people to be healthy, to be happy by the end of your days. Taras Kompanichenko now is tuning his bandura. Taras is joining us. Taras Kompanichenko. And here Taras actually will perform the last piece at this session. And tomorrow you're invited, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow at 4 o'clock to pay the tribute to those brothers who died and perished. the song to commemorate the died, perished Cossacks, and how bandura playing and songs could be performed, and as the performer says, in order they will hear this music. This is the song of the cuckoo bird, the tears or tearing of the cuckoo bird. It's the so-called Duma tearing. It is performed at the funeral sessions, and it belongs to, scientifically say, to the third types. It's harmonic minor with the pitched sevenths sound, high-pitched, by classification of Mrs. Grace, Sofia Gritza. It is and actually it brings us to the so-called historical songs. And it is the example how the Ukrainian epic pieces were performed. And sometimes for some songs are typical the so-called natural minor. And actually we took lots of modes of tuning and performing from Tkachenko. This piece exists in several recordings. With Katerina Grushevskaya, they are available. Kosteremsky also did it, and also if you listen to Kosteremsky, and you know, if you compare my performance and his performance, but for me also it's important to include the emotional memory. That's why always I link myself to Kosteremsky when perform these songs. Taras, you did performed steepy Dnieper banks go wider. And it is a high pitch 6 level. let's say our slogan, brotherhood, brothers. Let's say our final word. Okay, let's do it together. Let the people of Ukraine and all of you be healthy, be happy by the end of your days.